MS does suck.
MS mucks with your central nervous system, almost everything about your body, your muscles, your organs, your ability to speak, your ability to understand, your ability to move, your ability to breathe, the things you feel, the things you taste, the things you smell, the things you hear.
I went through a very long stage of learning how to cope with it.
Always taking away. You never get anything back.
MS took everything from me, everything I thought was important, everything I valued.
I used to jump in a trampoline and swim with the kids and play baseball, football.
MS has affected me being a mom because I'm sorry.
Plan for the worst and hope for the best is kind of the way I'm looking at life.
Every day, I'm inspired by people with MS who say to me, "What can I do to help?" It's the entire community that enables the progress that has happened over the last 15 years.
I've heard repeatedly over the last few years, "You're so positive, you're so positive." I figure I'm still gonna live my life. Occasionally it slows me down a little bit, but it hasn't stopped me.
How do I want my daughters to look at me? They've seen the resilience of Dad. They've seen the strength in Dad, and that's what I want to portray.
Because MS is brutal. MS isn't fair. MS is harsh. But MS is also a great teacher.
I just don't want people to be isolated in their sorrow and instead kick ass.
I walk in a lot of gratitude to be able to see this beautiful world and to be able to dance and walk, to be able to. That's a major type of freedom. And it's a beast, but so am I.
Despite MS, I will keep riding my bike.
I will continue to live the life that my daughter expects me to live.
I will continue to be the strongest mom that I possibly can.
I won't let MS change who I am inside.
I will still dance with my husband.
And I'm going to stay being a father as long as they'll put up with me.
Multiple sclerosis may be a part of who you are, but it doesn't define you as a person.
I will never stop. I will never quit.
I'm going to keep being me.
My name is Kevin Byrne.
I'm Kim Feller.
My name is Chris Ramsey.
And I have multiple sclerosis.
Multiple sclerosis.
Multiple sclerosis.
In 2016, iRacing said, you know what? Let's have a little bit of a laugh. Let's do ourselves an April Fool's joke in which we say dirt is confirmed. But not only did they confirm it, they went one stage beyond just confirming it. They actually implemented it. And part of Rallycross was one thing, but it was the dirt oval that looked to try and change the game of sim racing. Knoxville Raceway, Majors, Europeans, and the Knoxville Nationals. Let's get ourselves going then. Qualifying currently underway here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live, of course, on iRacing Live. I am hashtag Do You Mind Jake Sparrow, the observer of sim racing. We will at some stage get a chance to talk to Cam Walsh, but as things stand in qualifying, it is Dave Walsh in the 842 who is fastest on a 15.219 at this 0.8-kilometer circuit, this half-mile dirt oval. It's going to be one of those tough ones today, with a field all looking to try and get through, and of course, the Europeans not known for their dirt action. Currently, nobody is out on track looking to set a time, so pretty much that secures qualifying for the moment. Heat racing is in full effect as the standings are going to be shown up on your screen as things stand. And well, that is a very, very pretty picture. Pete Harrod looking to extend his championship lead over Fernando Antoli. He knows he has to. He knows he needs to in this situation. And what a better place to do it than here in Knoxville. He understands what he needs to do. Fernando Antoli back 85 points. Teemu Toika third. Markus Niskanen in fourth position. And David Barklow 125 points behind. This is the time you need to get yourself moving. But in terms of qualifying, there is one driver out there setting times at the moment. That's Alexander Kirsanov in the 25. And he will be hoping that his charge is going to be right on line as things stands. Moves himself through the left-hander. Well, they're all left-handers here as he looks to set his first time. 16 flat to open up the bookings. He's got himself 3 more laps that he needs, running that lower line, looking to try and open up an opportunity, heading high, then back down low through this second bank through 3 and 4, looking to get the power down again, 15.9. So still struggling, still hasn't found himself up fully to speed, or really at a pace where he can feel comfortable with his times at the moment, and goes very, very high, looking to try and accelerate as much as he can for this final lap, trying to use as little track as possible. Still currently can't go any quicker, and he's got 10 seconds left if he is to put it in. I think he's just about on the cusp of not being able to do it, and that pretty much secures it. So that is qualifying all done at the moment. Dave Walsh then, the fastest man as things stands. But of course, it's heat racing to go, and this first heat will see Dave Walsh up on the front. And of course, alongside him, as I completely missed my cue, will be Andris Stilsans on the front row. Jared Morgan, start 51, starting from third with Lonnie Fitch in fourth. Wayne Hutchinson on row 3 with David H. Baker. Sylvain Mayo and Andrei Rajkovic, 7th and 8th. And John M. King joining us. Normally we see him in the international majors. He will start this one from 9th position. Worth noting as well here, only the top 3 will advance to the feature. These heats are an automatic pass, meaning that you don't have to race any more than you have to. Such an important situation. Get yourself going as quickly as you can, and looking to try and get things working. So, for the time being at least, this is going to be a tough little battle. 15 laps then for these 9 as they look to attack Knoxville as much as possible. Pace truck then leaves pit road, and 2 laps worth of action in terms of pacing is what we are going to have before we rush on and get our starts fully underway. The longer that this race goes, the longer that the track is going to be rubbered in. The cushion will be exacerbated on that high side, and it's certainly going to be very, very interesting to see as we get ready for action here in Knoxville. 1 lap then before we take ourselves to green for the first of 3 heats. 15 laps worth of action, or 10 minutes, whichever gets finished first. Walsh has looked the fastest in practice all week long, and he knows better than anybody else that he's got work to do. Of course, an iRacing build came out just this week, so it has made preparations for this race a little bit more challenging than maybe it would be otherwise. But still, a race which is very, very important to just set proceedings outgoing. Truck, it's about time you start thinking about diving down onto the lane. But it's an early jump from Dave Walsh, and let's get underway. And it's pretty much caught napping Stilsans as he gets a bump and gets right down low over the pits. He drops to 4th, he drops a little bit more, 2 wide for 2nd as Jared Morgan low. High is Lonnie Fitch looking to try and get himself an opportunity. 1 lap already scored in the books, and already Stilsans struggled and outside of the transfer positions, and that's not what he wanted from starting in 2nd. Big gaps already, your top 3 away. Cam Walsh, welcome to the conversation.
Yes, hello. It's a turns out you need microphone stuff installed in order to use your microphone. I had never known. But no, it's, hey, nighttime Knoxville dirt racing. It seems to me Dave Walsh seems to come out of the ether a couple of weeks ago for the last majors race, and now here he is. He's running great laps. Massive gap between him and second place.
A huge gap indeed, and that gap is 1.6 seconds to Jared Morgan. Lonnie Fitch currently in third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Hutchinson, Baker and Silsans all looking to battle at this stage. So Silsans knows that he's got to get moving, but he's got 1.4 seconds as things stand, and 1/3 distance scored at the end of this lap. So they've got to get a move on here, or hope that Morgan and Fitch decide to run into each other, but it seems that there's nothing that's helping here as the track erodes away slowly but surely in this opening race of the afternoon.
Yeah, most certainly. And for Jared Morgan, it looks to me like him and Lonnie Fitch are kind of going at it. Knoxville Raceway, of course, is what we consider a fairgrounds circuit, as I'm sure in road racing and European, they have many different terms as what it would be for the type of track that it is. Now, it's very similar for dirt oval racing. The fairgrounds, well, this is where old horse racing used to take place. And some of these circuits still do horse racing, but they all kind of turn into a lot more horses, basically, running around these tracks. As Jared Morgan, he seems to be able to cover from Lonnie Fitch. I was thinking Fitch would get the underside. Didn't happen.
And Andres Silsans has dropped 2 positions over the course of that last lap and a bit. Hutchinson and Baker have both made their ways through, but the gap at the front keeps extending. 2.6 seconds over half distance. We find ourselves at the moment. Fitch comfortably in third, Jared Morgan in second position, but crucially that gap is slowly being whittled down by David H. Baker, down to 1.3 seconds. And Lonnie Finch expects that he needs to work more. Highline continues to erode away, continues to want to use at the moment the gap down to 1.2. The moment they start fighting here, Cam, is the moment there's worries. Final third of the race now engaged.
Yeah, most certainly. Now, we got to remember that these heat races are actually a bit longer than what we would see perhaps on other iRacing broadcasts. Normally, it's an 8-lap heat. Would have been done by now. But so there is some extra time here for the track to get worn in. And Lonnie Fitch, he seems to be able to get a good exit off of corner number 4, but he just doesn't seem to have anything to cut to the inside. He might actually try to pull alongside here, Jared Morgan. Morgan, he does a defensive line into the inside. And, well, they're just going to continue to cover here. And I'm going to be very surprised if Lonnie Fitch is able to pull a move on the outside here at the Knoxville Raceway.
Well, it's just going to be 2 and a little bit laps to go for Dave Walsh at the front. Lonnie Fitch looking at second position and better grid position when it comes to the feature as well. So there is still a lot to fight for when it comes to getting the right transfer spot. White flag will soon come out in the air in just a lap and a half. And Jared Morgan, Lonnie Fitch know what they need to do. Hutchinson and Baker on the outside looking in at 1.1 seconds away. But the white flag now finally out. Fitch up on the high side. Jared Morgan has been low all day long and he has been defending well, but Fitch has an opportunity. Dave Walsh, though, will come to the checker and take heat number 1, but the battle for second continues to hot up. Jared Morgan defended well all race long, Cam, and he takes himself with second position.
Yeah, that means that he's going to be starting in either the third or the fourth row, depending on how many heats end up going to the feature. And a good run in there for Jared Morgan. We got to remember, of course, this is the 31st straight run from Jared Morgan in this major series. I thought the heat race went fairly straightforward. Didn't seem like there was anything too crazy, and that's exactly what you want to see. But you know what? As the track gets more worn in, Jake, it's going to end up being one of those situations where the track is going to be absolutely demolished, especially when you've got this many laps in each heat, and then we've got, what, 1, 2, 3 mains before the feature.
Yes, we'll most likely have only 2 mains, though, before we get to our feature. But second grid, then, up on your screen for you right now. Tasnauki up on the front with Teemu Toika with Markus Niskanen in second position. Joni Hagner will start third with Treva Vorosky in fourth. Dawson Brock from fifth. Eric Mickey in sixth. Jan Letzver seventh. And Jan Bruni in 8th position. And talk about a star-studded field, Cam. Toika won the Coppers Classic. Niskanen has been consistent all season long. And of course, you've got the World 600 and the Daytona 500 winner, Eric Mickey.
Yeah, and you've got Joni Hagner. I mean, it's exciting to me simply due to the fact that I have basically never seen almost none of these drivers racing here in dirt, and I'm going to be very interested to see, especially the Finnish drivers. I mean, it's, you know, rally, all that stuff like that, and well, here they go now around an oval in a 410 wing sprint car.
And Jan Mletsever seemingly having a few technical issues getting onto the grid, so that's going to be a disaster for him if he has to go through a D main or a C main if he wants to give himself that opportunity, the one that he wants. But for the moment, it is going to be Markus Niskanen and Teemu Toika who will take things going to the front. But now, it's going to be a tough little battle as stewards try and sort out what's going on with Mletsever's issue, but Pace Truck dives down onto the lane. Let's get ready. Only 7 will take it, and let's go. Great jump there from Teemu Toika. Completely caught Niskanen napping up on high, and he drops himself one position at least. Maybe Vavrovsky trying to make it 2. Contact in the back, and that's Mickey going spread eagle sideways, holding it together though crucially, and we stay green.
Yeah, most certainly, and I think the thing for me especially is how these drivers are going to understand these starts. The restart or the start is so very vital and important. No joke, it is probably one of the most decisive things at the start of the race. The leader has such the ability to pull a gap, and it's going to be up to that outside guy to be able to try to count it. It turns into a massive game when there's cautions, and I think that to me is going to be kind of the big... The interesting experience for these guys with this major series is how well they're going to adapt to figuring out, well, if you're starting that outside, you have got to be ready to jump right out of that gun and step on it as soon as the leader does. And Teemu Toika seems to be able to have a fairly comfortable gap here right now, but Markus Niskanen, he's starting to come back on Joni Hagner.
He certainly is. Gap at the front then, 1 second as things stand. Second, third and fourth all split by 4 tenths of a second right now. Vavrovsky desperately trying to stay with Niskanen, who wants a bit more security when it comes to the 3 transfer positions that are available here in this second heat, as 1/3 distance already score complete. Hagner, the Finn, doing very well on the defensive drive. Little wiggle from Vavrovsky as well, starting to drop backwards a little bit, starting to struggle. Everyone running up on that high line, looking to make sure that something works for them, but for the moment it seems nobody has found an inch to really battle with. Very even, 15.8s and 15.9s respectively.
Yeah, most certainly, and Trevor Vavrovsky's that front-running Grizzly car, and it's good to see these team car paint jobs out here. I know a lot of these teams, whoever paints these cars must be making an absolute fortune, as Vavrovsky's going to try that inside line. I don't think anything's going to come of it, simply because that outside berm, that cushion as it's called, does still have a lot of grip out there. It is going to wear in, and they're going to have to start searching around the track for more grip, but it's just one of those things where, I mean, you talk about such a community basis of this major series. How many paint schemes have these painters had to make for these cars? I love the Grizzly paint scheme. The Bombshell paint scheme looks real good too, and you know, it's just it's good to see these different teams out here, as Vavrovsky just doesn't seem to have anything in it for Markus Niskanen.
And that's been a big feature of these opening races. Nobody has really been able to find passes in the heat. Very different to what you'd see in the World of Outlaws Championships, the World Championships that you see on the iRacing Esports Network. But Niskanen currently in 3rd, dropping backwards from Hagner, who's found some good second half of the race pace now with 5 and a little bit laps to go here at this circuit. Mletsever, though, has had an issue and has been turned around all on his merry lonesome right down to the inside cam, and well, his bad day just seemingly gets a lot worse.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be clicking in there as he'll pull on the inside. Maybe just something off with the car, something off with the controls. You know, these cars are, you know, you talk about, say, a Formula car, a Formula 1 car. Think about how much development goes into all the different nose pieces and all the stuff like that. These cars are basically very similar in a way of how much technology they put in them, as around the last lap of the heat.
We certainly are. 2 laps to go as Markus Niskanen still holding that defensive line, as Vavrovsky just hasn't been able to eclipse 4/10 of a second consistently to look and try and find an attack. It may be something that you start looking to attack later on in the races, as this pretty much basic track does not get itself working. But for Teemu Toika, he walked away with it right from the drop of the green, and he will book his place in one of the 3 transfer spots as Niskanen will hold on against Vorowski. Hagner quietly finding himself through. The others, well, they've got mains that they have to do, Cam.
Absolutely, and I haven't noticed any significant ruts developing. Knoxville is a very well-groomed racetrack, very well purpose-built, of course, being a fairgrounds racetrack. And so I think that's going to be important. We don't want these ruts to be forming too early, because by the end of the race, at the end of the feature, some of these cars could certainly be hopping well into the air. And I thought heat number 2 went very well. It didn't seem like anything too crazy went off other than traded positions at the very start between Hagner and Niskanen, but overall, though, the track is starting to kind of loosen up, and I have a feeling that this heat is kind of where things are going to start to turn, where some of these drivers are going to be able to start figuring out where they can place their cars and where they can start making passes.
Heat 3 then, let's get ourselves going. The last heat then that we have, Mike Kelly will be on the front row with Josh Wolf in second. Championship leader Pete Harrod will start from third with Kurt Crum in 4th place. Cordell Colon and Andreas Robertson in 5th and 6th, with Diego Jimenez and Alexander Kirsanov 7th and 8th. All 8 have taken to the grid. That is very, very nice to see, which means that we will be able to have a full start here in terms of this 3rd heat camp.
Yeah, most certainly. And now this is going to be the thing here. You've got Joshua Wolf on that outside. Josh is going to be familiar with this this whole dirt start sort of thing. Mike Kelly probably as well. So they should kind of negate each other out here. As I'm just kind of looking, I'm waiting to see when as the lights go out on that safety piece truck, which I'm sure you've never seen before. Yes, it's a full-size pickup truck. That's billions of those here in the United States. I know you've never seen one that size before, but no, I'm excited to see where Kelly is going to pull the trigger and if Wolf is going to be able to counter.
Well, Josh Wolf has been a very, very versatile driver. He has been knocking on the doors in a lot of different vehicles, and maybe this has been the race that Grizzly has been trying to target, such as in the Euros. There been maybe a lack of exposure to dirt, but maybe it's something that they just have to be wary of. Pace Truck will dive down then onto the pit lane, and an early breakaway from Kelly, but crucially, it's not a decisive break as they go into 1 and 2 for the very first time. 2 wide dead through 4 as Cologne cannot work the inside compared to Crum, and now trying to make the inside work. He goes very high, catches, I think, the brim on the inside, and he gets a bit of a shunt, and round in the back goes Kirsanov as Robertson had nowhere to go.
Yeah, and Kirsanov loses his front wing. That's not going to help him here with the front downforce, as that is definitely a front wing, and it does certainly serve a purpose. But Mike Kelly has not broken away from Joshua Wolf. I will say, as far as the start goes, Wolf just let him go, basically. Typically, that outside guy needs to crowd the inside guy, but you know what, though? It's a heat. You do not want to risk it. Don't need to race too hard here, but you got to remember here, Pete Harrod, he's in that bubbled spot, and it's going to be up to Kurt Crum to see if he can chase him down as the lap times are coming in for that last lap. Kurt Crum did have the speed.
He did, but only fractionally, as the gap is 0.6 of a second. Josh Wolf in second. Pete Harrod, the championship leader in the majors, currently in 3rd position so far in heat number 3. Mike Kelly just extending that gap ever so slightly, but actually lost a bit on that last lap, and they are top 4, all trading positions, 5th and 6th, pretty much nowhere. Robertson and Diego Jimenez, both of them over a second back on Kurt Crum, so it's really just a fight for these 4 as they try and work that high side, get that cushion nice and firm as they look to try and work themselves through. Half distance coming in the next lap and a half here, Cam.
Now here's going to be the issue. Pete Harrod, which by the way, I absolutely love that MAD paint speed. That is simply stunning. For Pete Harrod, he's faster than Joshua Wolf. Well, this is going to be the problem. If Joshua Wolf isn't faster than Kurt Crum, there could certainly be the opportunity for Kurt Crum to come in and catch Pete Harrod. So if you're Pete Harrod, do you risk trying to make the pass, or do you just sit there in the bubble position?
Well, he sat in the bubble for the moment, hoping to try and pick up a moment, but on lap 8, looking for maybe just a little bit more, both running that big high side, and I think Harrod has been searching, but does anybody dare go down to the low side to search for grip, to search for the move? At the moment, everyone just wants to play that consistent game, which is frustrating for Kurt Crum because he knows he can't do anything to catch up. In fact, that gap is extending away from him, 7/10 of a second now, 6 laps to go here at Knoxville in Heat 3, and all of a sudden it comes down to he who makes the least mistakes, as Wolf is looking very, very antsy at the moment.
Yeah, he doesn't seem too comfortable with that car behind him. I have a feeling he knows how close that car is behind him. And I'm going to say I'm starting to notice some ruts kind of breaking on the entry into corner number 3, kind of down the backstretch. I'm noticing that the suspension is traveling. That's going to be some trouble later on in the meetings in the feature race here, because if it's already starting to break away now, I can't imagine that many more cars going on it. 410 wing sprint cars, that's a 410 cubic engine pumping out that massive right rear tire. But for Pete Harrod, I'm just, is he going to pull the trigger or not? Do you pressure Josh Wolf? I mean, think about it this way, if Josh Wolf makes a mistake and he loses a position, now you've got to worry about, say, Kurt Crum, who you know you're faster than, compared to Josh Wolf.
Oh, and Wolf goes incredibly high, looking for a little bit more grip, and he seems to go higher and higher and higher, and ultimately they still can't find it. 2 to go. Popsicle sticks at Knoxville, and looking for chances is Pete Harrod on the final transfer spot, wants to get a bit more security, nose to tail as they make their way through 3 and 4, and looking for a chance here. And that chance now comes to the white flag lap, and I think he'll be happy, because falling away is the bombshell machine of Kurt Crum, and the biggest bombshell is we're still yet to see a proper overtake. Mike Kelly walking away in the second half of this race. He will pick up the victory, barring any misdemeanors. There are none. He picks the win. Wolf second, Harrod in third. Kurt Crum is moving to mains.
Yeah, absolutely sensational, I think, for Pete Harrod. I think that was very smart by him to not pressure. Last thing he wanted to do is risk making contact, but, for me, Pete Harrod now knows what he's going to have to do to ride in traffic. I'm pretty excited about that. The heat races were absolutely fantastic, and now we're going to start getting into the big pressure here. We've got the C main, it's going to be 20 laps. 4 of these guys are going to be going to the B main, and I gotta say, now things are going to start getting interesting. I've started to note those ruts. It's a bit like if you're imagining one of those 1980 Group C Le Mans cars. They always used to buff it going down the Mulsanne straight. It's something similar to that, I would have to say, if I had to put a European spin on it, where the cars are going to start bouncing. You're going to see the suspension going, and if you watch the drivers on those wheels, they're going to have to counter every single rut and bounce. It's going to be a bit like rally driving, but the problem is you're on a car that is completely downforce dependent, and absolutely essential that you get your grip by applying the throttle. So I have a feeling it's going to start getting real interesting here in the C main.
Grid up then for C main. Inside row 1, Andre Silsans. On the outside is Eric Mickey, the Daytona 500 winner and the World 600 winner. Andreas Robertson starting this from 3rd with Andre Reikovic in 4th. Jan Bruni will start from 5th with Alexander Kirstenov 6th. Sylvain Maillot will start from 7th with Jan Letzler 8th, with the last row featuring Cordell Cologne and John M. King to round out the 30 or the 10 that we've got. As Cam said, 4 head themselves to the B main. No guarantees from here. This is pretty much your chance to have a chance to race in the finals, to get yourself the most amount of points possible, and this is what makes racing very difficult. Also on the flip side, this is the opportunity that drivers have to maybe get more accustomed to the track. They are racing it more than others, and they have that opportunities. But the big thing has been overtakes have been a premium so far in Knoxville, but the ruts are starting to show. And of course, with 20 laps here in this C main, there is more time than even what we have seen to get the big opportunities working. Through 3 and 4 goes the iRacing first truck, or the first safety truck, shall we say, which will dive down onto pit road. Pace on Silsans, who goes early, and let's get going. 20 laps as Robertson gets himself a little slow and down on the inside, and will drop 2 positions instantly. One of them to Kirsanov, one of them to Reykjavik, both in the transfer, but Reykjavik is in the fence, and that's a shame for him. Up and over on his side, and that is day done for him pretty much. His chances of advancing are now slim to none.
Yeah, that's it. He's going to be out of this race and out of the event here. This is kind of the big thing with the heat racing and all that. There are going to be drivers here, names that you're familiar with if you've been following the Majors European Series, that are not going to be making the 15-car feature race. So it'll be interesting to see who does make it. And you got to say, Jake, that's a big development. But you know what? Whom else could perhaps make their mark on the Major Series?
Who could? Currently, it is Robertson in the 4th position, and with a comfortable 1.3 second gap back to Cordell Cologne, as Sylvain Maillot struggling on that inside, but already the gap starting to show. Silsans already out to a 7/10 of a second advantage over Eric Mickey, currently in 2nd, but you want to be as high as you can for that B main, because positions, as we have known so far, hard to come by. Jan Bruni, though, and Jan Mletsova, time to start moving, Jan. You didn't get your opportunity in the first heat, but now in the C main, he's got to get going, and he's looking low side for it, but struggling with the power. Here comes Mayo.
Yeah, and it's P4 right now. That is going to be that transfer position. That's Andreas Robertson, the 333 purple 410 machine, 410 sprint car machine, is Cordell Cologne. It's basically going to be up to him. Now you're starting to see here on the exit of these corners, Jake, you start to notice that the car buffets. The car kind of jerks to the right and then shifts to the left, and you're noticing that these drivers really have to fight these machines now here as they're going. Jan Bruni is trying to move here to the inside of Sylvain Maillard. You can just see how the car exits, and then they all have to kind of snap that wheel in order to force the car to go straight. You're going to see that get more and more exaggerated as the race goes on, as Jan Bruni was not able to keep that inside line and run it, as you're starting to see that thick black line on the entry to the corner. That's the track wearing in. They're going to start pushing that cushion, as it's called, up, and there goes Jan Bruni into the infield wall. His day is done.
It is, and now Robertson under pressure as Cordell Cologne has caught. So now for Cologne here, as he's starting to think about half distance, which will be done in the next lap. Robertson has been caught. He just needs to find a way past. Mickey at the moment, the gap half a second in front to Silsans, and you may just want to get a little bit of safety. Go careful, Kirsanov as well, coming off the exit. Same for Robertson. Everyone very, very close to that outside wall. They've got to be careful of that. Cologne starts looking low. He's starting to think, okay, how on earth am I going to make this move?
Well, what he's going to have to do is what we call a slight job. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term, but I'm sure a lot of people out there watching are. Basically, you overspeed the car onto the entry, try to nip that inside Armco barrier, and throw your car right in front of them, leaving your opponent nothing to do other than let off that throttle or else run into the back of you here. As you're noticing, these cars are really starting to snap on the exit of the corner here. It's just pretty surprising to me. I'm not even sure if you saw that, say, when the World of Outlaws World Championship Series were here, but you're seeing Robertson. He's running that super high side. Cordell Cologne, he's running somewhere in the middle here. He almost gets alongside, but he has to back out in order to get the throttle down. Now here we go. This might very well happen. The next couple of laps, Jake, you'll see that number 50 car get a little bit more speed, and he'll absolutely throw it right in front of him.
But he needs to, because he is starting to get held up and a little slow off the exit. Let's go too wide. Cologne, not close enough, but now he's going to send it. Sly job in the world's a Dale Earnhardt Jr., and he gets the job done on the inside, not even needing to go slide job central. But Cologne gets himself up into the magic transfer. Top two still battling it out. If anything happens between them, Cam, it could be good night, and God bless at the moment. 5 laps to go, 3/10 the gap.
That is probably the politest slight job I have ever seen. Great maneuvering from Cordell Cologne and Andreas Robertson to make sure that they did not make contact. And Robertson, he doesn't seem to have the speed in order to keep up with Cordell Cologne. So I have to say, I would say perhaps that would be a good thing to do, but this is a problem. That was the bubble transfer spot. You hadn't really needed to fight to that tooth and nail, but you know what? Cordell Cologne, he's now worked his way up into the finale here, as we've got, 5 laps to go.
3 laps to go now as Mickey has done exactly what he needed to. Andres Silsans has been passed, and that's not what Andres was thinking about. Not only that, Silsans got up into the wall through 1, so that right rear getting a little bit of a tap, which won't be helping. So there's a little bit of, go careful, Andres, as Mickey has made his way through very, very, very well. And this is pretty much going to be all she wrote from here. Mletsova running into issues, but white flag coming for Eric Mickey, who has needed this result, did not have a good heat, looking to try and recover it back, and has had to make the move to make it happen. Silsans went defensive, it wasn't forthcoming, and Mickey now can run for the hills. Eric Mickey takes the C main, moves to the B main in pole with Silsans second. Third will go to Kirsanov, and Cologne struggling out of 4, which gives it to Andreas Robertson. What has happened to him? And the answer is, I think he may have just underfueled it potentially, because that was a sudden stop through that final section, Cam.
Yeah, I almost wonder perhaps if he... Yeah, I don't know what to say with that one. He seems to have slowed right on down. Cars seem to be all right. Yeah, no, it's something with the fuel, which is surprising because... well, I guess you can. They did reintroduce the different amounts of fuel, because normally they only had it so where you could do heat, main, and feature as far as your fuel fills. So yeah, Cordell Cologne didn't have enough fuel in the car. That's not going to help out, and you got to remember that fuel is so very important, Jake, because that is each gallon is that much more weight that you have to sling around this track. So yeah, some of these guys are going to light fuel their car.
That was cardinal in terms of a sin, but the B main shall be as follows. David H. Baker up on the front inside. Outside will be his teammate Trevor Vavrosky, both part of Grizzly Motorsports. Kurt Crum starts third with Wayne Hutchinson 4th. Dawson Brock from 5th with Diego Jimenez in 6th. Eric Mickey 7th. Andres Silsans 8th. Alexander Kirsanov 9th. And Andreas Robertson makes 10-6 transfer to the feature. That's going to be the telling factor. And those who have had that ability to run a good 20 laps already, they've got another 20-lap run here, Cam, to make sure they get things right.
Yeah, most certainly, and I had not realized in the new build that you could we went back to the fueling as we did, and that's going to kind of be a problem, not for me, simply because some of these guys, what will end up happening is that some of these cars are going to be fueled expecting a caution. Obviously, no caution here in the mains or anything like that. It's going to be in the feature, but for the rest of these guys, now you got to start considering. You know, if that's one Grizzly car that didn't have enough fuel to the finish, if he doesn't get out there as Trevor Vaworski decides to do some wheelies, what are these other Grizzly cars going to be packing in the back of their fuel cells?
That's going to be something that is worth keeping an eye on. But for David H. Baker, he knows that he just needs to keep it clean. Top 6 go through. And a lot need to work out what they need to keep on doing. For Vavrosky, Crum, Hutchinson, they were all on the edges of trying to get through. They didn't manage it, but how will they do here? Pace car in, and David H. Baker goes. Coordinated start with Vavrosky. Let's get going then. Another 20 laps in play as down low side goes Kurt Crum up into second. Oh, Shater sideways, and a tap as well to Wayne Hutchinson. He won't be happy about that. He gets a second tap from a lot further down in the pack, and already changes happening on lap 1.
Yeah, and here comes Kurt Crum. He was not happy. He wasn't able to close in and secure the position to go to the feature in his heat. Now here he comes as David Baker is trying so hard. Somebody goes around.
That's Eric Mickey, who had got himself all the way up into 3rd place. So Eric Mickey running into huge issues. He went high side looking for the chance, but ultimately it won't work for him because it was 2 into 1, and we all know, Cam, that never goes.
Yeah, most certainly, and that's going to be a shame for Eric Mickey. You don't need to be super duper aggressive here. It's lap 3 of 20. I can understand lap 18, lap 19, but you know, we're only on lap 3 now, 4. So for Eric Mickey, his day is going to be done. That means that the field is only going to get that much more solidified, and I'm going to say here, we're going to have a lot more new faces, perhaps.
Yeah, we certainly will be looking like that in all of the fracas. Kurt Crum is starting to pull away. Battle third, fourth, fifth. Dawson Brock as there's contact. And that's Kursanov with Vavrosky. As Vavrosky drops positions, you've got to be so careful about that. And there's a big turn as Wayne Hutchinson goes up and over with a little help from Diego Jimenez as well. And Hutchinson pretty much out of contention now as well. It seems that in this B main, people getting a little bit more desperate here, Cam, to try and get through because they know sixth will only do it right now, which is where Andres Silsans lay.
Yeah, absolutely. And the big thing for me also is that notice how the track is degrading. Yes, this track is degrading. It's not like it's rubbering in. How it works on asphalt, the more cars run over something, as we've still got just absolutely fantastic action. Trevor Vovorsky and Andreas Silsans absolutely going back, and for Silsans, I mean, I'm not sure exactly how to take this, simply due to the fact that you do not want to lose that position because you don't want to become under attack from Diego Hormilia, but at the same time, you don't want to put yourself in the wall.
No, you don't, and he took 5 stabs around the outside through that big turn number 1 to make it work a lot smoother is Vavrosky. He has a lot more control of his vehicle, but how much damage is there to Vavrosky's 410 wing sprint? The answer is enough, which is keeping Silsans ahead at the moment. Dawson Brock currently in second now. He's made his way through on David H. Baker with fourth position now. Alexander Kursanov gap 1.3, and Silsans, yes, he's got himself up, but Vavrosky has made his way through back into 5th position, and crucially enough, Diego Jimenez has lost position to Andreas Robertson, so now it's the case of just build a gap, stay safe. We're over half distance already.
Yeah, and there's a lap car of Wayne Hutchinson out there on the field right now, and here comes Andreas Silsans. Silsans had lost the position to Vovorsky after tapping the outside wall, which we're going to start seeing more and more, and here comes Silsans on the outside. I think he's figured it out. The grip that you want to see is on that inside line. Silsans is going to go down there, and immediately Vovorsky counters by going down there as well, as we've got that great battle between Kursanov and David H. Baker for position number 3.
Yes, and crucially, who's going to go low? The answer is Kursanov was thinking about it, decides against it at this stage. So for Alexander Kursanov, it's a case of the waiting game, and he doesn't want to do anything that would jeopardize him at this late stage of the event. Kurt Crum, though, has just lost the race lead to Dawson Brock. Brock has been running some fantastic laps to put himself into position, and he has done so well to get himself up there. Now on lap 15, Brock trying to run away from Crum. Kursanov through on David H. Baker now into 3rd position, and vital for Kursanov, who wants as many positions as possible for the feature that comes up in just a little bit. It is still Trevor Vorovsky in 6th position, but crucially by 2.4 seconds over Diego Jimenez, and that gap, unless there's a mistake coming in the last 5 laps, shall not be anything forthcoming at this stage. So for the time being, it seems that it is going to be all she wrote, but we've got 3 laps to go. Next time they cross the line, Silsans and Baker now scrapping it out for 4th position, Cam.
And Vovorsky has just pounded the outside wall. He's in that critical bubble 6th position. But the thing is, he's got no one really behind him. Diego Hormilia has hit that outside wall at some point also. It's getting to that point, Jake, where we're starting to see these cars are absolutely riding the very peak of the cushion. The cushion does run out, and it runs out right where that wall is. So we're going to start to see these cars buckling that outside wall. They're going to have to dive to the inside if they want to keep going.
They certainly do, but they've only got a lap and a half to survive. Dawson Brock has scythed his way from 5th to 1st pretty easily, it has to be said. And for the moment, 4th, 5th and 6th, very close as things stand. If anyone gets into each other on this last lap, we could see a late change for position as they all end up high and one into the fence, looking low. Vorovsky goes sideways. Dawson Brock takes the victory. There's contact, though, down as Silsans pancakes the inside wall and drops from 5th back down to 6th. He was looking for 4th, but crucially safe as those who look to make it through get themselves to the feature. A big challenge for all of them. A race of attrition, but one which will be Dawson Brock's.
Yeah, it is good to see that Silsons was able to make it after bumping out that inside wall, excuse me. But either way, Jake, good running here, but we've started to see that track is basically faded away, and that is what these cars are going to deal with. What's going to happen is that the 15 cars that are going to make the feature are going to go out on track for a 5-minute warm-up, and that gives us a time to take a bit of a moment to kind of collect our thoughts. But Jake, doing a fantastic job already, I have to say, doing the lead for the oval commentary here on the dirt. What do you think?
I think it's very, very tough to keep your head on a swivel, but we're going to be back in just a few moments' time because the feature is coming up. 35 laps of great racing action. The heats were elementary. Let's say that the mains were at full tilt. But now it's time to work towards the feature. It is time to work towards a big, big challenge. 35 laps, 15 vehicles, and only one winner of the Knoxville Nationals. It's going to be a tough challenge here as cautions get turned on, and now it becomes a patience game here for the final race of the afternoon. Of course, on iRacing Live and RaceSpotTV. I am #TeamMine, I'm Jake Sperry, joined with Mr. Cameron Walsh for the final race that we are going to see. 20 minutes or 35 laps, but whichever comes first at this half-mile dirt kingdom known as Knoxville Raceway. But it is time to get the grid up on screen. This is how the final stages are going to line up for the Knoxville Nationals, the Majors Series European version. Dave Walsh will start on the pole with Teemu Toika outside on row 1. Mike Kelly and Jared Morgan will be on row 2. Row 3 will see Joni Hagner and Joshua Wolf. Lonnie Fitch and Marcus Niskanen will be on row 4, with row 5 housing the championship leader Pete Harrod and Dawson Brock, who made some great progress there in 10th position to start. Kurt Crum, Alexander Kirstenov, David H. Baker, Treva Vorosky and Andris Silsans makes up 15. Crucially, we've got only 2 bombshell cars in the constructors' battle, but a whole heap of vehicles which have the name Grizzly Motorsports on. But Cam, what are you expecting for the final 35 laps of the evening?
I mean, it's going to be interesting here. They sent the water truck out, they sent the groomer out, they railed around, they packed it back, the fireworks are in the air. It's nighttime here at Knoxville Raceway. Get your 5-point harness, strap it on tight, and get ready for ludicrous speed. Here for 35 good old laps here, Jake. I'm pretty excited. Dave Walsh is going to be leading us into the dark, and I gotta say, with this track being refreshed, with this track being renewed, it's going to be one of those situations where how is the track going to develop this time, because these cars are going to be racing. We'll see if they get those slide jobs out and ready, or if these guys stick to that high side.
Well, it has been very, very cautious for 4 races, and then for the last one they got very, very aggressive. We've seen the track cleaned up. It's now time to see what you are made of. A lot of drivers, especially those towards the front of the field, they've had to be waiting very, very patiently for at least the last 35, 40 minutes to get back into the saddle, as it were, and get back waiting to race. For those further back, the likes of the Dawson Brocks and especially Andris Silsans in 15th, they have had to go through a lot of heats and also get themselves through the mains to pull themselves back. But as the fireworks spark, the pace truck will dive down onto the lane. Early getaway for Dave Walsh, and Toika has been caught napping as they go. Already a little bit of contact from about third, and up into the fence is Jared Morgan. He manages to keep it out of the fence though, luckily, as they are pretty much crashing it out in the middle of the pack. That's Pete Harrod, the championship leader, who gets involved again, and that's going to cause a caution.
Yeah, that's, I don't know. These cars were maybe perhaps not used to having as much grip as they did, but yeah, that was, it basically started with Lonnie Fitch. I think Fitch just threw the car in there and he had to back out because Josh Wolf had to back out, and then it just started widening everybody up here. But I'm surprised. We had all these heats, we had all these features. We haven't had a start like that yet.
No, we haven't, and Jared Morgan getting involved early, but having a look at it, it was Pete Harrod just running out of road really to begin with, running into the back of Lonnie Fitch, and then it just snowballed from there, nowhere to go for the incumbent Kurt Crum, and that there for Pete Harrod could be damaging. We are not sure whether Fernando Antoli is going to be running the Knoxville Nationals, or whether he's deciding to take this week off or run in a different split. But more crucially than that here, Cam, it is a case to be made that there's a little bit of trouble in the early goings.
Yeah, and I'm surprised to see Pete Harrod behind the pace car. I have a feeling he's going to get a wave around, which he should. He's missing the entire front of that machine, so the radiator's exposed. But more importantly, I think for me, it's going to be one of those situations where, well, Andre Silsas is sitting way in the back. I'm not sure if where the pace car had kind of came out and split everybody apart here. A bit strange. I believe Silsans might have come down to pit road to maybe get a repair. Yeah, that's exactly what Silsans is doing. Lights are out on the pace truck, so Silsans better hurry up here, but that's going to give it to Dave Walsh.
It is going to give it to Dave Walsh, and we do expect that to happen. But for Dave Walsh, he's got to get himself a bit of a move on here. But of course, in terms of said pace truck at the moment, the lights are firmly off on top of that vehicle. Silsans waiting at pit road, which is officially closed. Pace car dives in, or pace truck, shall we say, and a pace behind David H. Baker, who will need to move out of the way for leader Walsh as he gets himself through. And very, very nicely is Mike Kelly in second, Toika third, Hagner fourth, fifth, Josh Wolf waiting. Everyone going low side thanks to David H. Baker. Don't get too close in for Josh Wolf. That's going to be your teammate that you need to worry about. Everyone low, little bit of trouble. Kelly gets a touch, and it's going to be Toika who struggles and goes up and over there on the back. And that's another caution.
And that's going to be the first car that we've sent butt over tea kettle there. Now, what started this one is, if we can get the old replay up here, you can see Mike Kelly, that's the white and the blue Summit car. The left front tire just nips a little bit of that pit exit packed dirt that sends the front tires up into the air. There's nothing steering it. He shoots out. Teemu Toika, nowhere to go. He gets that outside wall, and he is now going to have to take a tow and then get his repair car. So he is basically, his day is going to be done.
Well, there's not much you can do when you're pointing one of these vehicles pretty much right into a left-hander, but you know, when it's getting worse and worse and worse and you're on the outside and you're trying to get that grip back, you know, it's nigh on impossible, and Tasnauki takes a big hit in terms of his championship picture with where he is at the moment. Harrod at the back of the field. Damage limitation, it seems, at this stage, so keep an eye on Markus Niskanen in 6th position. He will be the one in the championship, Cam, that will be looking to make the charge.
Yeah, most certainly, and I mean, it's just going to be interesting to see how these guys do. We're already 10 laps in, so it's already 25 to go. I mean, it's just how this is going to go. David H. Baker has now pulled into the pit lane. He's going to use his repair. That's going to cycle him back to the end of the field here. And it's just, it's going to be one of those weird situations, as it is. Silsons is back on the lead lap. He's now going to be starting back in 12th, so going to be interesting, going to be exciting. And the big thing is we're starting single file. It means Dave Walsh is going to have an easy time getting away.
Yeah, he will have a lot easier time then on this restart, and a lot of confusion around it as well. Not very helpful, but still, Walsh, Kelly, who's had a little bit of a bump, Hagner, Wolf, and now Dawson Brock moving up into 5th position. He started this one from 10th. Pace truck in, green flag. Let's get going. Lap 11 started then here at 35, and Walsh already breaking out a couple of tenths of a second. Dawson Brock looking at 4th place then with Josh Wolf, teammate, just in front. Dawson Brock's loving racing at the moment as everyone working the low side, trying to get a little bit of help going as it's a little bit more spaced out here as we go. Walsh though under pressure. Mike Kelly challenging for the lead, but not close enough yet into one as everybody going low, looking for chances. And now it's about how do you pick your run, Cam?
It's high side to middle, the apex to outside. That's basically how the line is going right now. And Mike Kelly, he's just trying to maybe perhaps get a little bit closer here. That's what got him into trouble that last time, where he hit that inside dirt berm, as Dave Walsh has nipped the outside wall already here, and both of these cars are kind of there. They are searching for dirt. It might look like they're just following in each other's wheel tracks, but each one is taking a different line. They are putting the throttles on and off at different times, and that is going to be so very important. We also have to remember Mike Kelly, he's got less air on that wing because he's got Dave Walsh in front of him. I mean, it's not like there's a draft effect like what you would see in the pavement world, but you also have to remember these two guys are going to start squaring off. It's going to allow Yoni Hagner perhaps Joshua Wolf, as Markus Niskanen is on the inside of Dawson Brock.
And makes the move for now, and that was a pretty nice one down low side, and he gets himself the position that he wants, but looking high is Dawson Brock. He's unable to pick anything up as things stand. Half distance score complete. Next lap by. It's a waiting game at the moment at Knoxville. Drivers waiting for opportunities. Niskanen firmly now up into 5th position. Extra damage to Pete Harrod, who is currently scored in 13th position right now. 1 lap down on the field, so not much he can do from here to gain everything back. But Kelly, for the moment, struggling to find a way past Dave Walsh, potentially even waiting at this stage to get a more decisive run on the Club UK&I driver. Here's a fun fact for you, Cam. In dirt racing in the UK, they go the other way around the ovals.
Why would they do that? That's confusing. Is Dawson Crockett, we actually have a yellow out on the racetrack, and that's for Jared Morgan, and I'm wondering if him and Kirsanov didn't have a hello. I was about to point out, both of them had been running pretty hard. That's exactly what has happened to Jake, and guess what? Jared Morgan, he nipped that inside, that curve. He gets the car loose, starts swirling around the track. Kirsanov was there, nowhere to go.
Yeah, nowhere to go. Secondary contact with Andres Silsans, and for Jared Morgan, that's not the way he wanted his afternoon to end here at Knoxville, and that's going to pretty much signal the third caution here in this 35-lap event. It resets the clock once more as drivers wait and just pace it out, and those who have underfueled get themselves an opportunity to save just a little bit more. Dave Walsh, who has led every single lap so far of this feature, all 20 out of 20. You'll be happy with where he is at the moment. Kelly second. Yoni Hagner has been very, very quiet so far, though, today, Cam. Third position, has not made a move, has not needed to defend a move right now.
And Pete Herod is getting that wave around. He's getting brought back onto the lead lap, so that's good to see here. He'll be positioning behind Jared Morgan, who for the second time now in this race is going to be starting from basically the back of the pack. A team with Toyka as well as Andrei Silsas, though Toyka is 3 laps down. So it's been interesting so far. We do say, I will say, there has been quite a bit more racing than what we saw with the heats where they had a brand new track. So obviously those guys were being a little bit more cautious, which means that the track is certainly raceable and serviceable, I have to say, for both the high side and running the low side. So it's good to see here that the track is definitely racing.
Yeah, lights off on top of the pace truck. We will go green this time by. When they go green, 13 laps will remain here at Knoxville. And for Dave Walsh, it's just a case of what he has been doing so far. Just hold the 3 of Kelly right behind you. For Josh Wolf, he knows he's got issues. He's got Marcus Niskanen behind, who has been making those positions up slowly but surely. Dawson Brock as well. Pace truck dives in. Dave Walsh gets going. Green flag at Knoxville for the 4th time then in this event. And Hagner under pressure from Josh Wolf in 3rd position now. And it seems that it's all safe for the moment. Wolf not able to really pick up a line as they get back up to racing speed. Anybody too wide? Yes, Toyka and Silsas, but that doesn't make any difference in the world. But for the moment, it's Hagner, the biggest man under pressure right now.
Yeah, Pete Herod didn't really get the start perhaps that he wanted. He's gotten around both Baker and Jared Morgan, but he is going to have a lot of work to do as Josh Wolf has tried that inside line. He almost took a bite out of Yoni Hagner, but they managed to keep themselves nice and apart here. Dave Walsh, he's got maybe 5 car lengths as they're coming past the start-finish line once again. Actually, that's the back stretch. Don't mind me, I know where I am on this racetrack. It's a very long racetrack. Mike Kelly, though, I have to say, he's almost starting to wash out. That's allowing Yoni Hagner, even though Hagner is pressure from Joshua Wolf, to start catching up here. That's allowing Walsh to kind of get a break here. But for Mike Kelly, you gotta wonder, Yoni Hagner is not only going to be able to catch, but pass.
Well, that's been the question all afternoon long, and now there are less and less laps, and Dave Walsh holding himself to a 6.5-tenth advantage, but that gap is remaining so for the moment as they make their way to the front stretch. 8 laps to go here at Knoxville. That gap still 0.6 of a second, and then it's 0.4 all the way back. Lonnie Fitch in 7th, trying to find a way to 6th to get past Dawson Brock, but for the moment, Brock is pretty much rock solid at the moment. Hello, Pokemon, we can do memes, but for the moment, battle Vorosky and Kirsanov. This one for 8th position. Nobody in a position to make a move so far in your top 7.
No, but I'm noticing that Alexander Kirsanov and Trevor Vorsky are almost starting to come here with about 6 laps to go here. Vorsky, he wants to get a good finish as he's pulling the inside. Now he'll actually have a good move. Here we go. That's going to be a slide job perhaps as the car of Kirsanov ends up wiping out. Yeah, there's your slide job. And now here's going to be the counter from Kirsanov.
Here we go, trying to get it back, but not decisive. And there's Bobrovsky holding a position, holding a very good position at that as well. Mike Kelly now under pressure. Gap up to 0.8 of a second now. Just 4 laps remain next time they cross the line. And for Mike Kelly, he now comes under pressure for 2nd position. Hagner wants to get in the mix and start moving up positions. The Glacier Racing boy wanting to try and make it work. 1 second the gap, and now it's falling away. Looks to the inside here, Cam. Hagner's looking.
Yeah, and Hagner should be able to get at least a good... Actually, he takes a nip out of Mike Kelly. That puts Kelly on a little bit of a slide, but they managed to work themselves out. There's a caution somewhere else on the crowd. There's Sil Sons and David Baker crashed into the inside pit barrier area.
Oh, and that's so late as well. Lap 33, we may have just seen the end of this race, Cam.
No, I hope not, but it certainly is the potential, too. That might be our race winner, Dave Walsh, but if we get a one-lap shootout, they got to think, I'd also say with the single file line, Walsh would still be able to contend, but I got to say, I think that's going to be it, because we're on lap 34 right now, so I think that, unfortunately, that caution's going to end it.
And it was Andres Silsans eventually up into the wall, out of 4, collects the driver there, David H. Baker, the Grizzly Motorsports man, and ultimately, it's going to be all she wrote. White flag out at Knoxville. It will be a procession for Dave Walsh, who has driven a fantastic race, has led every single lap of it so far today, and he will lead every lap to win an event. It has been a tough one. He was challenged midway through by Kelly. Kelly did not take the only opportunity that was available. Hagner was starting to look as well, and maybe he needed a little bit more help if he wanted to get that by. But Dave Walsh is going to come to the line, and he will win here at Knoxville. He is your Knoxville's national champion in the Euro Majors.
And congratulations to him. Boy, I tell you, it's been difficult. It's been exciting here in this feature. 5 cautions is going to be the caution amount on the day. But you know what, though? What that means, Jake, is that every single opportunity that you didn't take because you wanted to maybe have a little bit more time come off, well, that means that you cost yourself in the end. You have to take every opportunity for a 410 wing sprint car race. And for me, I think that we had a very good night tonight, even though we've ended under caution.
Yes, we certainly have done. Official classified results then. Let's get them up on your screen. Everything over, everything done with. This is how it looks. Five laps worth of racing, 35 laps led for Dave Walsh as he picks up a big victory by 0.6 of a second, finishing under caution ahead of Mike Kelly. Joni Hagner, the Finn, finishes this one in third. Joshua Wolf gets himself the 4th, with Dawson Brock making his way through the B main, getting himself into the feature and getting a top 5 out of it as well. Marcus Niskanen gets some championship help in 6th place, with Lonnie Fitch 7th and Treva Vorosky in 8th. Alexander Kirstenov 9th, and Pete Harrod, a race to forget, in 10th position for him. Kurt Crum 11th. Jared Morgan, the last car, finishing on a leading lap. David H. Baker is 1 lap down. Andre Silsans 3, along with Timu Toika, who pancaked the outside wall. But stay with us here on RaceSpotTV, because the post-race show is coming to you after this here on RaceSpotTV's very own YouTube channel. Don't go away.
I want to leap over buildings, want to fly over the shores, faster than a lightning flash, rushing through the cool night air. Oh. So start ignition, count to 0. I just wanna be a superhero. So start ignition, count to 0. I just wanna be a superhero.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, the post-race show here on RaceSpotTV. A race here at Knoxville, one which maybe ended not the way that people desire to see races end, and that being under caution, but we still had some fantastic racing action on the dirt. The Euro boys were able to make it happen, and of course your race winner had a flawless victory here today. Dave Walsh, 35 laps led all the laps in your heat as well. You couldn't have asked for a better evening's worth of racing, could you?
No, I don't think I could. I mean, yeah, it couldn't have gone any better. I had a great setup. Everything just worked. I managed to get the qualifying time in, and then it would seem quite hard to pass, but that played into my favor, and I managed to get the win.
Well, you've got the win, and crucially, the luck of the Irish certainly on your side. But let's talk about the middle stage of that race, because it wasn't all plain sailing. You had Mike Kelly challenging you on that, shall we say, semi-long green flag run, that good 4 or 5 minutes that we had. For you, how difficult is it to defend here at Knoxville? Yes, the track state maybe wasn't as aggressive as it could have been, but certainly still had to really maneuver your car into the right position, surely.
Well, for me, this is my first ever race here, and my first ever race in the 410s. So for me, it was just don't let him. If he got to the inside, I did think I could hold it on the outside after a few laps. But while the track was still in good condition, if he had gotten to the inside, he would have gotten me, and that was it. So I'd go into the corner quite late and just try and get late apex, and then that way I'd get a better exit. And as long as he wasn't able to get alongside, I'd be able to hold it.
Well, in terms of what's happening next time, and we're talking about the end of the month here in September, we are heading to the land of the rising sun. We are getting the McLaren MP430s out. Japanese Grand Prix will be going into play. So for you, Formula One vehicles, how have you been faring in those?
I have never raced them on iRacing. I think I'm fairly good at the F1 games, them and themselves. I have a couple lap records in F1 2018 and the classic cars, so I'm able for them. But I actually don't even own the car or the track at the moment, so that's definitely going to be a big challenge for me.
Good luck. That's all I'm going to say to you. Good luck. But before we let you go, Dave, shout out sponsors. Who gets it done for the race victory?
Just all the guys over at Pinnacle Racing Group and Dakota DiCenzo for the setup, the quality setup, race setup, heat setup, all absolutely amazing. Just without them, I would not have won it.
Well, no worries at all. Dave Walsh with a pretty big victory. Cam, you've caught up with a driver who's finished in second position, and that is Mike Kelly.
Hey there.
Mike Kelly, hello. How you doing? The number 3 machine from the Old Plains Club. Mike, it was a bit of a rough one out there for you. You managed to seem to have speed, but it seemed that every single time you were having a good run, that inside curb, perhaps, that little rut there, between the pit apron line and the outside track always seemed to get you, and then you lift your front wheels there. Take me through it.
Yeah, a little bit frustrated, but it's just the way it is. I thought I had him there when that first yellow came out on lap 2, which would have gave me the lead, which obviously, you know, track position's everything. And then on the restarts, I could get underneath him, but I could never quite pull off the pass, and I bobbled one time and bunched up the field. I got caught in the rear end another time, and I think that bunched up the field. But then after that, the bottom went away, and we were all stuck running the top, and there was nothing I could do then, and I think they were actually catching me there at the end. I about got spun out, and I guess I don't know if I was lucky that last yellow came out or not, but we were fixing to fight for second place pretty hard there.
Yeah, Yoni Hagner was definitely coming on strong, but just, we gotta remember, outside of the 35-lap feature here, we had just an absolute ton of racing. I know for you, you had a good time in heat number 3. You started in first, you finished in first, but just kind of going over the whole of this event here, I gotta say, I think it overall went pretty well.
Yeah, I thought it was great. A lot of fun. I would have liked to have seen the track carry over into the main. I don't think that was out of anybody's control.
It was planned, yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't planned. I would have made it was a good race. That would have made it a better race. Obviously, I spent a lot of time in practice when the track was slicked off, working on a setup that was really good on the bottom. So I was looking forward to a really slick track and maybe be able to run the bottom there and make some moves if I had to. But as it turned out, I had good track position, and it was a great event. Would have liked to have seen some more cars. That would have made it really cool. The Pacific region is going to be really cool to watch for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Still 5 cautions on the day for 15 cars. I can only imagine if we threw out 30 or 40, which I would totally be okay with. Jake, maybe it'll be too many cars for Jake, but you know, for me, perfect. I would give me a thumbs up for that. But either way, Mike, I'll give you the floor. Anyone you'd like to give a hello to, a shout out to, or anything like that?
Well, definitely thanks to you guys for putting these on. I really enjoy going back and watching them afterwards and spreading them out on Facebook with my friends and such. Thanks to Turn 1 Heroes. Got a good solid team that developed setups for this race. And Lonnie Fitch had a good run here. And shout out to, yeah, I'm drawing a blank.
That guy.
Yeah, that guy leading that other guy chasing me for the points in the Atlantic region. Him. He's going to be running later. Hopefully he'll be able to pull off a win.
All right. Well, Mike, thanks so much for hopping in with the European split here, and best of luck going over to Suzuka.
Riley Thompson. That's what I was trying to say. Thanks.
There you go.
We'll see you over in Japan.
Yes, sir. So that's Mike Kelly, the number 3 machine, coming home in position number 2. And Jake, we'll hand it back over to you.
I haven't quite got that guy, but I do have the other guy in terms of Josh Wolf. Josh, it's position 4 for you. It looked like you maybe had half a chance of attacking Hagner in the early stages of this event, but it just didn't really manifest itself into anything better.
Yeah, kind of along the same lines of Mike. I think we were more set up for the track state being more slicked off, and I was looking forward to it. But not really anything it seemed like Mike really could do. I think he was planning for it and just didn't work out. Still had a pretty good car. We made some adjustments right before that main once we saw that the track wasn't rubbered in to try and get the car to go a little bit faster, and it was definitely faster, but just not fast enough.
Just not fast enough, but crucially for you, it's another fantastic, consistent run for you here in the Major Series. I think it's another important top 10 that you've been looking at. Just what has been the key to your consistency over so many vehicles this season?
Kind of what I tend to be pretty decent wherever I go. Maybe not super fast in some, but it's kind of just how my driving style is, and just getting into different cars then instead of just focusing on one. And had a little shaky start at the beginning of the year, but this is kind of where I normally run, and wish it would have been a little bit better. I think it would have been a lot higher in points coming to this point in the year if it wasn't for the rocky start I had.
But despite a rocky start, it seemed smooth sailing, but you've got the toughest vehicle on iRacing to drive next. You've got the McLaren MP430, and this is where the big boys get tested.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for these last few rounds. We've figured some stuff out with the LMP1 car, and I think some of that will be able to transfer over to this McLaren, so I'm actually looking really forward to this next round, and then some upcoming runs. I think the next really big one I have circled is Bathurst towards the end of the season, so we'll see what happens.
And with just 3 rounds to go in the season after Knoxville, it's going to be very important. Josh Wolf coming home in 4th place. Cam, you found probably not the happiest Jared Morgan after failing to get himself a clean finish.
No, but Jared is typically at least in a decent mood. But yeah, that number 96 machine, rough day, I gotta say. Did you ended up coming in 2nd position in the very first heat. Did you end up having to take a nap or anything like that? It's an extraordinarily lengthy time. I mean, yeah, you punched your ticket to the feature, but you know, it's tough when you gotta wait that long, and obviously no one went out for that the warm up there. But either way, Jared, take me kind of through your day overall, I suppose.
Well, good to be back, Cam. It was interesting. I was not actually expecting to wind up second in my heat, but I was happy nonetheless. The transfer was a very nice load off my shoulders. The main obviously didn't go as we planned. Like everybody else, Mike and Josh, we all built setups for a slicker track. So when we realized that the track was tacky, I made some adjustments, and, well, clearly those adjustments did not work out in my favor.
Yeah, he ended up that outside wall just a couple of times. Thankfully, though, the car didn't catch the outside wall and send you upside down, but yeah, I think it was twice you ended up having to run your way through the field. And I mean, you did finish 12th, which isn't, you know, it was the last car on the lead lap, but you know what? I mean, it's not terrible considering you know, twice you basically almost had the day end. But just kind of take me through the Knoxville Raceway track here. You know, it seemed like the racing was pretty decent despite the track being refreshed. You know, you can't blame the track people for getting out there with a water truck and the groomer and all that, I suppose. But you know, overall, it seemed like there was some good racing throughout the day.
Yeah, it looked great. Say in the heat, I don't know who I bumped into, but that's probably going to wind up giving me a penalty, but I apologize anyway, and I'm sure I caused some kind of chaos in the main. Again, I apologize. But the racing was actually outstanding, and I noticed watching the broadcast and in the simulation during the heats, the racing was outstanding, side by side, very clean otherwise, so I was really happy to see that until about the main, as usual, but I knew it was going to be a little bit messy.
Yeah, definitely. And I do see a Race Spot sticker on your car now. I see it. I see it there. It's extraordinarily tiny, and you have to squint, but I can see it. So either way, with that, I'll give you the floor. We're going to Suzuka, Japan, to go race a car that is just about as complex as this 410 wing sprint car is. In the McLaren. And just kind of, you excited for that? And who do you want to thank?
Well, as far as Suzuka, I don't know the first thing about the racetrack, so this is going to be interesting, though I have driven the car. Yeah, good, I don't know about that, but I'm notorious for hanging out in the back, and that often does me quite well for points, which this is kind of a good points day for me. Enrico didn't show up or something, so that's going to gain me spots. Cordell didn't make it in, so that's more points towards me. And then, as for my sponsors, just like always, I see you're focusing on the "this is dirty on my car" also. That was a joke, actually, I put up for Cam. But for sponsors, just like last time, Kelly with Pinksy Illustrations, Amber with Minnie's Art Commissions, and then the guys at Grizzly helped us out a lot, and Mike for putting it all together, and then you guys at RaceSpot for putting this on for us.
All right, Jared Morgan, 31 straight. We'll see you in Suzuka.
Correction, 51 straight.
51 straight. I'm sorry, why did I say 30? I thought it was 30 straight. It was 50 straight. It's only 20 more events. I mean, come on. There's nothing between there to here.
That's a year and a half.
Well, 51 straight now for Jared Morgan and Jake. With that, I gotta say, I mean, I know I'm kind of the dirt connoisseur type person, and I get very excited for these races. I gotta say, I was really excited. I thought we had a very good race. I know a lot of people perhaps maybe a little miffed about the cautions or something like that, but you know what? That's a dirt racing. We had a very realistic dirt race. I know for some people they might roll their eyes here, but no, seriously, we did. That's all about the trials and tribulations of the race and who can capitalize on the events, and I gotta say, Knoxville certainly delivered.
Knoxville delivered arguably one of the best races on the calendar so far, but unfortunately that's all we're going to have time for here on RaceSpotTV. So to those who get it done for us, first to Adwern Designs, the official graphics partners here at RaceSpotTV, along with ATVO and AppGeneer, of course, the official graphics engine here at RaceSpotTV. Not only that, our live timing and scoring brought to you by Nick Disson, as well as our cameras brought to you by Istvan Ballo and TrackCams22. Make sure you check those out, as well as the animations done by Simon Grossman. More importantly than that, though, it's going to be a very, very important challenge in the majors coming up. Arguably the toughest hurdle on the horizon, and it takes us to the Sunrise Land. It takes us to Japan. It takes us to Mie Prefecture and Suzuka for what will be a very, very important Formula One race. Make sure you check that one out here on RaceSpotTV, along with all the other stuff that we show on RaceSpotTV, and of course the iRacing eSports Network. But for the time being, that was Cam Walsh, that was Hugo Louise behind the cameras, and I am #ViewMine, Jake Sperry, the observer of sim racing. But Niskanen, he gains on his rival being Pete Harrod. Not only does he gain, but a lot of drivers taking some big, big points away. Dave Walsh, only his second start here in Euro Majors, but he's already impressing. And for next year, he will certainly be one of the major contenders. Sayonara.